This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
Hello and welcome to The Basketball Show. I'm Shane Heel and I'm all alone here. We'll talk a little bit about that later. JoJo, she's gone missing in Las Vegas and LA, but we're proudly supported by TCL Mobile, 2K and Bet with Joel. And it's time to introduce my co-host, one of the greatest imports ever to come to the NBL and the second best skills development coach in the country. Number 5, the Pocket Rocket, Derek Rucker.
What an intro. Thank you very much. And hey, I'm glad that you come to me for the co-host role. And I'm happy that I get half the screen now. You know, I deserve half. Who knows where JoJo is? So I'm sure we'll touch on her in a little bit.
I'm glad you liked the intro. What was your best intro around the NBL back in the day?
I think I like the early days out at Boondle with Neil Hamilton Smith. And I think he initiated the Pocket Rocket one, but it would boom out through that big Coliseum. And it was really sent tingles up your spine, you know?
Number 52, the baseline bandit, Rocky Robert Sibley was my favourite. Leaping Leroy Loggins as well. But D, check this out. We've got 2K, one of our proud sponsors here. They've got an initiative with Red Dust, and we're going to throw to the video. Check this out.
My name's Alan McKenzie. I'm a proud Radbury Gamilaroi man, born in Griffith, New South Wales. Full time, I'm an artist. I love what I do. I've always had a strong connection with basketball. Love it. It's a beautiful sport. I've been looking at the uniforms that are on the game and getting inspiration. If people look at it and go, yeah, it's just a shoe, there's a lot of time and planning you've got to put into it. I guess for me, I just wanted to infuse Aboriginal culture and our designs into these shoes, and I'm incorporating a lot of rainbow colours into it. I want it to really stand out. So when I do my artwork, I always think about the stories that our ancestors have spoken about thousands of years. So for me to use these colours gives me that connection to the Rainbow Serpent, which is a creator of our stories. Yeah, deadly.
Yeah, terrific stuff, D. And, you know, sport creates opportunities to really be able to support and help in the community. And 2K have certainly done that. And for people who want to bid, check these out. How good are these little bad boys? People who want to bid, I'd love to have those in my wardrobe. Go to Red Dust eBay page and go hard. It's a great initiative and well worth the money.
And players are so lucky nowadays, Shane, because they get the opportunity to wear these types of shoes. Back in our day, they probably would have been considered a bit too much. So, and this opens a possibility for these types of initiatives, and it's great that Red Dust is involved, and I think we need a pair of shoes done up.
Bring it on. We're waiting. Huge starting 5 brought to you by TCL Mobile, and the rule book's gone. Joe's gone. I'm just making things up as I go. Let's bring in Derek Rucker. Ian Clark, NBA star to the Kings. You've been down on the Kings, mate. Does it help them?
It definitely helps them. It helps them. It helps them PR-wise. Like you saw the ripples already over the weekend and on social media. People from all over the basketball world were, you know, congratulating the Kings, congratulating Clark on his signing with the Kings. Now, that's hollow if it doesn't translate to wins on the floor. And Clark is very, very experienced. He won a championship with Golden State, obviously has a good relationship with Kings minority owner, Andrew Bogut. And look, the guy can play. He can shoot the ball. He'll be a great addition. But there are some guys on that Kings roster all of a sudden that are going to lose some minutes just as they were seemingly getting back into the rotation, Vasiljevic being one of them. The young point guard being one of them, the backup being one of them. And I'm just not sure how that will suit them, not only in the short term, but in the long term as they're trying to build a culture with some of those young pieces of personnel.
It's going to take them some time, I think, but they've got time because they're starting to play good basketball. And how was that dunk, by the way? Unbelievable play at the end of the Kings game. The fans were going nuts. All right, shaking things up here. NBL trades. We want it. We think it should happen. Obviously, it comes with some stipulations because the NBL guys don't get paid like the NBA, so it'd have to be agreed to by the player and the club. But I think there's some great situations. I'm going first, D. Illawarra's got problems, and I'm actually trading Scott Machado. He's coming in from Cairns because they need a legitimate point guard to make it happen. Who am I getting? Oh, Rattan Mays. I'm not happy with Rattan Mays. He doesn't fit. Don't like the combinations. They need a true point guard. I might even send Nar up to Cairns as well because I think he'd help them. And he's right at the end of the Illawarra bench. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I like that. Nar has been in no man's land all season, and I thought last year he had started to show signs of being productive. I think he's a good passer. Look, his shooting is questionable, but he knocks down enough. And I agree with Machado. I think it's time for Machado to get up out of Cairns. Do they really need him? They've looked pretty good without big contributions from him this season. And I think the trade would suit both. Rattan Mays, for me, is sometimes frustrating and streaky, Shane.
Yep. Yeah, very much so. I think both teams win, particularly Illawarra if they're trying to win a championship. All right, over to your first trade.
Okay, this is an interesting one. It's not a blockbuster like yours. I've got that one coming, but I'm sending Tanner Krebs and Tamari Wiggness down to Hobart for Clint Steindl. Steindl hasn't been the same type of marksman this year as he was in Perth. The Bullets, I think, need some perimeter shooting. They're probably one or two pieces too many on the perimeter, and Steindl would be really, really good in Brisbane to come off the bench and provide some spark with Isaiah Moss. I don't know why you're shaking your head. You want to elaborate? You don't like the trade?
Oh, the trade's all right, but it might not even get a mention on Twitter, that, for a blockbuster. Are you kidding? That's what you've come up with.
It's not a blockbuster. It's to make both teams better. Everything can't be a big splash, you know. Sometimes you got to chip away and get better day by day.
All right. Well, I'm going for a blockbuster. You can take that little one. No one really cares about that, but the player's getting traded. I'm going to go. This is a big one. Adelaide, they're going to trade Mitch McCarron, the man that they threw the house at. He's gone. And again, he's gone to Illawarra because Illawarra need this point guard. So I'm focusing on Illawarra. In return, they are going to get Reith and Nar. Let's not forget that Humphries has gone down for the season. Their front court's not working. I think Reith there, knowing how many bigs the Illawarra Hawks have got at the moment, I think he would rejuvenate them. I think they've got enough with Sunday Detch in the backcourt. Nar's there, and that would probably make them better as well. But Illawarra, the team I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I think we both agree Illawarra don't look right, and they need something to change there. I think I said last week I don't like the hot and coldness of their three imports and their next star, Justinian Jessup, who we saw right there. I think they need stability, and a guy like Machado or a guy like McCarron would certainly provide that. But, geez, you're trading away McCarron after you've given the barn to get him. I don't know about your GM skills.
Well, Reith,
anyway,
mate,
can I get to my blockbuster?
Okay, let's go.
This is the trade of all trades. It involves 8 players. There are 3 teams, Adelaide, New Zealand, and Sydney. Adelaide will receive from the New Zealand Breakers Will White, Finn Delaney, and from Sydney, they'll receive Angus Glover and Macure Maker. And what that does is it gives CJ some fresh blood in there. He's not having carryover bodies. He can start to get his own people in place, and it gives him a lot of bodies, Shane. But they give up Daniel Johnson.
What?
It's a sayonara to Daniel Johnson to allow him to go pursue a final chance at a championship. He's got no chance of winning a championship there. The guy has been one of the top 5 players in Adelaide 36ers history. He deserves a chance to go out and get a championship. He's going to Sydney with Emmanuel Malou, who has proven his ability to shoot the ball. New Zealand will receive Dusty Hannes and T. Vodanovic. Sorry, Director Dave. T. Vodanovic is going back to New Zealand. He can spin the New Zealand Basketball League. He can spend the whole year down. Oh, wait. New Zealand don't
New Zealand are getting Hannes. Who are they giving up?
They're giving up Will White and Finn Delaney.
Oh, mate. They'll be pumped with that trade. They'd love it. All the Kiwis, they'd be like, you beauty. We've given away Finn Delaney and we've got Hannes back. Vodanovic's good.
Finn Delaney is stale.
He might be.
Finn Delaney's stale.
Still Finn Delaney, mate.
He needs a change of scenery, man. He is not getting it done down there. And for his athleticism and his body and his skill set, he should be doing a lot more Adelaide's the perfect place to resurrect his career. Thank you.
All New Zealand fans say thank you very much. All right, hopefully we can make that happen. The NBL needs to bring in trades at some stage. We put in the little provisos, but thanks for the chat. Time for In-Depth, proudly brought to you by 2K, and this is a great interview, don't worry about that. My favourite coach and the greatest coach in NBL history. Please welcome Brian Goorjian, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you, Hammer? Long time, brother.
It's a long time, mate, and I'll cast my mind back. The suffering Sydney Kings, and I remember sitting with Grant Cadee, and we needed a coach, and we caught up for a coffee. We said, we've got to go after the big dog, got to go after Gorge, and it was the greatest thing that happened to the Sydney Kings, mate. Unbelievable memories, and I'm indebted to you for getting me a championship. Otherwise, I was going to be one of those players that went without one.
Well, it's like they talk about Ben Simmons and Patty, and how Patty's going to be so great for Ben, which he will be, but in turn, Ben's going to be great for Patty. And I think for you and me, that move to, I'd lost 4 or 5 championships in a row, been in a final and hadn't won one. So I was desperate too. And you were desperate. And then Chris Williams walked in that door, and we both looked at each other and goes, this has got a real chance. So I'm indebted to you too, mate, because you no, nothing unturned that year. Everything I knew, you knew, all or nothing. This is it. And I know it was the first year, but it was like, I need it, you need it, the city needs it, and we had the group. It was really special.
I remember sitting on my balcony pre-season, and I remember having a conversation with you saying, mate, I think we can win it. And I think you thought that I was crazy thinking we could win it at that stage of the season. You hosed it down. But what did you learn, mate, after sort of being handed that team a little bit? And it was probably way different than you would have ever recruited. How did you change after that?
It's funny, my personality when I was in Melbourne over a number of years, I assembled people that things that were important to me. And what ended up happening, and I didn't realize it, when you get to a final series or it's a best of, that sort of situation, we were tremendous at the day-to-day, and we were tremendous in the regular season. We always finished on top, had great regular seasons, went in favorites, and then you get in a series and you're scouted. And you have to have, end of the day, guys that can just make a play. So you run your set, you run your deal, you don't have it, you're defended, and now a guy that can break it down, a guy and make plays. And when I went to Sydney, I remember I'd have 15 guys in Melbourne that were all Division I players. And I'd get to Sydney, and there was yourself, Maddie, Melmoth, there's a group of 5 or 6, and then you're really struggling just to even scrimmage. And I'm going, man, this is a struggle. How do you plan on? But when it got to money time, that group could flat stick score. They guard it. We don't have anything. A guy would make a play. You'd make a play. Matty would make a play. Kavasi would make a play. Chris Williams would make a play. And that sent something through me of, you need guys that can break guys down off the dribble, along with being able to play some defense. And it did change what I look at as a good player. And when you select the team, you can't have all the same. So the winning's in the picking, and that changed my thought process on how you put a team together.
It was fun times too, Gorge, and one of the things that we used to get a chuckle at is you'd forget people's names that we were playing against on the scout. You'd forget computers or things on the plane. And the reason why I bring it up is you actually handed it over to me because I'm forgetting everyone's names. What's the thing you've forgotten latest?
Oh, it's people people said during the game, made comment about the bum bag. And, you know, I got to say the worst thing that in China, losing your phone. And I did that on a couple of occasions. And to get a new SIM card, to get a phone hooked up was incredibly difficult. So it was painful. And then we went on a road trip up into Xinjiang where there's, you know, it's unrest up there. And we got to the airport and I didn't have my passport. So I ended up, you know, you got to get a new passport. You got to get a new visa. It's a temporary passport from Australia. I'm in Xinjiang, which isn't real safe. And I don't speak the language. And I have to end up going to Hong Kong. So what happened was that losing things became much more of a penalty than they did here. So that's why I've got that big, ugly bum bag hanging on my gut. So that hammer has solved a lot of problems. The key things of importance, people ask what are in there. The phone, the wallet, the car keys, my passport. Those things when I'm are there and I don't lose them anymore. I don't take that off.
Well, that's great because we were in depth for a long time finding out what was in that bum bag. I want to get onto the Boomers. Did you sense, first of all, congratulations. We haven't seen you publicly to be able to say that. Did you sense that the whole nation was behind you, not just past players and, you know, we're in tears and everything else, but did you, when you were going through it, did you know how big a deal it was back home?
Shane, I did. And I said this and I say this, I was really, really concerned in the hardest part was taking that job and having that responsibility because I just knew all eyes were on this thing and there was a tremendous amount of pressure. And I thought what the national team and what the Boomers had accomplished and you've competed in it, you know, I mean, finishing ahead of, you know, Serbia, finishing ahead of Lithuania and that not being good enough is scary. But, you know, Patty and Joe and meeting with those guys because I started with them and timing's everything that Brett stepped down and they needed somebody they were familiar with. So I was an important piece for them at that particular time. And when we got there and started to play, I get it from everybody. It's like the boat race. It's like Kathy Freeman. It's Brian. You know, everyone. I'm getting texts from all over the world. Everyone's watching this, and I've never, Shane. I know you're coaching, and on game day. I don't care who you are, what age. I don't care if it's Ballarat or if it's Melbourne, women, men. You're nervous. And there's a consistency there. You've got that feeling in your gut, but I've never felt like I did before that Slovenia game. You know, I was in that bungalow where we were staying in, and it was hard for me to get out of that room. I was fine once the ball went up, but it was a horrific feeling, just a ball of nerves, and knowing the whole country. I mean, there's nothing you can go into the locker room and say to that group if you lose that game. And then on the flip side, I've never felt anything like it after the win. It was like a relief for your whole career. It justifies. You feel like you put everything that's happening now. I feel like, oh, Goorjian's not doing this. The Hawks are this. What's happened to him? I feel like flashing everybody 2 cheeks and holding that medal up and saying, hey, I got this, don't I? You know, I mean, it's just with you for life.
Yeah, and, you know, everyone was so proud. You brought me out of retirement in 2004. The Boomers hadn't qualified, lost to New Zealand. We came back. It was a completely different group. Must be so different walking into this now with Dally and Patty and Joey and the culture that's set. And in the next phase, some of the talent coming through, Josh Giddey and these guys, you must be really excited about the future.
It's, you know, me, it's again, being away from from what you guys started with. I guess I don't know, Shane. I mean, I walked into it, you, Gaze, Brad Key, Longley, Vlahov. That first time when I walked back, not even you were there, you know, in that first. And so when I got together, we had this, you know, thing in Huntington Beach and, you know, that drop-in center where, you know, I walked into. And when I walked into, so I'll go back that first time with the Boomers, you know, guys are walking in and they've never touched you. They've never touched Andrew or Vlahov or Bradkey or Longley. It's me, brand new, and everybody's new, and you're trying to, well, this is what a Boomer is. This is important to the Boomers. But when you go into the drop-in center and there's Matisse and there's Giddey, there's Tybal, Josh Giddey, and then Josh Green, that and Duop. There was like 6 or 7 guys there that knew nothing about the Boomers. I don't know that Matisse knew that a Boomer was a kangaroo. I mean, to that extent. And you walk in there, and that's when I saw the Patty and the Joe and the Deli and Baines. And I go, my God, I didn't realize, you know, you guys not being there when I started put that program back. It took 8 years to get it to something competitive. And then I go away and I come back, and now 12 years later, now you're talking about the culture and the heritage now and as you said, it works in 4-year cycles. They're going to keep having these handovers. So it's not going to be that situation like it was after the Sydney Olympics. And I know you guys would have had a tremendous chemistry, but everybody retired at the same time. This one, you know, that influence. And Shane, I just stood in the background on that. And it was like knowing when to use your voice and when not to. And what those guys were doing was so beautiful and sincere. Just let them be them. And it was powerful beyond anything I've been associated with.
Yeah, incredible stuff, mate. Last one for you, and we're so proud. I think everyone already knows that. Last one, just about the Hawks before we let you go. It is a bit of a struggle at the moment. It's a grind. I know you'd be working them pretty hard. How do you get out of this? How do you win a championship from here?
Well, you know, Shane, I think it's so when you walk back into this and you're competing with the Melbournes, the Perths, and we came back and we set some place, but to move this franchise to a championship, so to start the year and saying they're favorites, I just thought, man, you know, Perth, Melbourne, it's going to take some time, and it's going to be processed and built. And you know, Duop's new to the competition. We got 4 imports now, so you know what that's like. And 2 of them haven't played. 2 of them haven't played here before. I'm not making excuses, but I knew there's process, and we're trying to do 2 things. We're trying to get better every day, and make sure that the day-to-day, like, and I thought, again, you were so wonderful with the Kings coming in, and you led that. You know, every day we're going to make our masterpiece, and we're going to get better every day and take the hits. And this thing for us, to me, isn't such a bad thing. We're not playing great, but the day-to-day, we want to establish that for the long term. So when this year, next year, Wollongong win 1 year, they're horrible the next. We want to try to be consistent, and we put together a good team. We do have a good team. We want to keep getting better and make sure the day-to-day is good. And we're concentrating on 2 things right now. We've been deplorable defensively, and finding a style in which suits this team. Is it contest and contain? Is it flying around? I'm playing around with zone, just trying to find something and build it and get better at it and move the ball. We've been taking bad shots, quick shots, and we've got again, we've got 4 imported players. They all like the ball in their hand. They're all good players, but it's that balance of getting the ball side to side before we attack, and about playing better defense and getting better on the day-to-day. And while you go through this, Hammer, it's a good, what do we like? Are we good with each other? Are we going to stay tight? Are we going to start finger pointing and go through that? And I really feel like we've got a good group, and I feel like we're going to come out the other side.
We've got no doubt. You've already established that, Gorge, giving yourself a chance to be able to win every year, mate. So we know that. And good luck for the rest of the season in finding those solutions. And thank you for all the stuff with the Boomers. And great to reminisce about the glory days of the Sydney Kings, mate. Good on you.
Good job with your show, man. I watch it. Love it. Great job, Hammer.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. Crystal gazing it is, and this is where we break down all of the games across the NBL. We welcome News Corp's own Matty Logue.
Shane.
Good to have you on board, mate. Now, let me remind everybody of the ladder. Derek Rucker on 37. There's Joe, Matt and I on 36. And Director Dave, he keeps the scores, and he's still last, so you know he's a long way bottom. Let's get straight into it. Derek Rucker, Cairns, host New Zealand.
I'm going with Cairns. This is a tough one, though, but I think the Taipans are playing better basketball, and that guy right there, Tajir McCall, I really like him, and I think he is going to be something special in the back half of this season. So Taipans for me.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that one. Matty, over to you. It's the rivalry down in Melbourne. Melbourne take on Southeast Melbourne, and cast your mind back, there was a little bit of passion in this game last time they met.
Yeah, rivalry on and off the court, Shane. Looking forward to this one, and that's including the court announce, but we won't go there for now. Look, I think this one, Melbourne United, it's too hard to go past them. I think Dean Vickerman's got their defence right on song. I think Dean doesn't get enough credit. Obviously, Gorge's record's fantastic, but Dean's the best coach in this country outside of Gorge. This big dude, Big Joe's on fire. Breaking records all over the joint and having NBA scouts watching. And I think while the Phoenix will compete, and I think Ryan Brokoff, for example, has improved, I just think, Melbourne United's defence.
You agree, D?
Yeah, Melbourne United, I'm all over that. Phoenix would look good, though, but I just think United have too much.
And I just think with people coming in and out with COVID and their coach and everything else, might take them a couple of weeks. I've got Illawarra. They're hosting Cairns, and Illawarra are coughing and spluttering at the moment, far from their best, no doubt about that. But I think this game's just too important. Expect them to be able to get another win, even though they probably made it a little bit closer than what they should have only last weekend. D, let's get back to you. Southeast Melbourne, they've got another game. They host your boys, the Brisbane Bullets.
Tough one right here for Brisbane. They'll really need to bounce back psychologically after that devastating loss against the Kings, in which a game I thought they played better than the Kings. But Phoenix, they handled Brisbane up in Brisbane a couple of weeks ago, so won't be much different this time around.
What's the word on Sobey? When's he back?
Wow, well, this is not a really clearly defined injury, and I think it could be another 1 to 2, possibly 3 weeks, Shane, and the Bullets really need his punch back. They're doing a good job without him. They picked up defensively, but they really need that guy that can just go get you 10, 15 points in a quarter.
I almost put him in the trade deadline as well with our NBL segment. Matty, Sydney, now you've been harsh on Sydney, but now they've got Ian Clark, mate. What's the thoughts? They take on the Perth Wildcats.
I don't think Ian Clark's necessarily the solution. He's hardly played in the last couple of years. I think his experience will be telling them, particularly with that group. The big thing for the Kings, though, Shane, is that Jaylen Adams is on fire. I'm tipping the Kings to win this one. I think that they're on a bit of a roll. And while ever Jaylen Adams and Jarrell Martin and Xavier Cooks are playing like they are, then I think they can win this and keep pushing for that finals berth. You
agree, D?
Yeah, and look, Cooks is the one who's lifted his game. We expected Adams and Martin to do what they have been doing, but Cooks has taken the leap that I think everyone has been waiting to see, and now let's see him carried on. And if they make the playoffs, perform like this in the playoffs.
Let's get DJ going, I reckon. Adelaide host Cairns, and I have no confidence in Adelaide whatsoever, so I have no idea why I'm picking them, but they're probably due for a win, and Cairns haven't been great on the road, but geez, D, they need to find some solutions, Adelaide.
I don't think Adelaide are that bad. You're probably a bit tough on them. Sometimes I think they get a bit disjointed. I think they could use another playmaker out there. I don't know if Duffelmeyer is the answer. Maybe give him some more minutes to get used to it. But they've got size, Hammer, and they really played tough against Brisbane on the weekend going down late. But, yeah, I wouldn't be tipping them with any great amount of confidence. I agree with you there.
What about United hosting New Zealand? That's got to be a foregone conclusion, that one, doesn't it?
How tired must New Zealand be mentally right now, guys? I mean, they would have to be just really, really struggling. And, you look at that schedule and it's like United next weekend. Oh, man, okay. It's United by, I'm going to give you an actual margin, 17.
Yeah, I say 22. Illawarra, you take Illawarra take on Tassie. I'm going to throw that one to you, Matty. What do you reckon?
Yeah, while Tasmania, it's been an incredible run, and it's great for the league to see them performing so well. I think Illawarra, they'll get the job done. I think they got a scrappy win against Cairns last round. Goorjian working them hard. I had a chat with him last week, and he didn't get back to me till late in the afternoon because he was flogging the hell out of them. So I think that'll pay off as we get towards the finals, and they'll be too good here, the Hawks.
And we all just
Can I jump in here, Shane?
Yeah.
We've seen teams like this go on runs like Tasmania have, and full credit to them. But there always comes that one loss that absolutely busts the bubble. Do you think that happens to them this year, or are they good enough to avoid that?
Well, we all just keep writing them off, don't we? We're surprised of where we're at, and every win we're surprised again, ready to write them off. So well done to them of what they've done. I don't think they'll make the top four. But one last one to you, Derek. Jojo, has she been lost to Vegas and the LA lifestyle? Where is she?
Without a doubt. She's been to more sporting events in like 8 days than I went to in 5 years. Early in her trip, I was, just communicating with her because I had a little bit of envy. I haven't been on vacation in a long time, so I was living through JoJo. She was giving me these long, detailed messages of where she was eating and the things she was enjoying. You know what I'm getting now? The
Nothing.
double tap like. I'm getting nothing back anymore. I can't get a picture of crypto.com arena. I can't get a picture of SoFi. I can't get anything. So JoJo, I hope you're having a great time because soon that honeymoon is over. It's time to get back to the basketball show.
Here. Thanks, fellas.
Breaking all the big news in basketball with Matt Logue.
All right, Matty, time for you to break all the latest news. Let's get straight to one of the hottest players in the NBL, and that's our man, Jaylen Adams. What's the news on him?
Obviously, Shane, massive dunk to seal that game for the Kings. It's got everyone talking, including the great Woj. Woj has shared that dunk on his Instagram, and it's got 150,000 views already. Amazing stuff. But the news factor to this is, Shane, that a whole heap of NBA scouts will be coming to Australia in the next couple of weeks. The borders are now open. They've got a few guys on their list, but right up there near the top is our man Jaylen Adams, and that dunk is certainly going to help his chances. Look, Jaylen's played in the NBA most recently with the Bucks. He spent time with Giannis during that championship run, and I think potentially he's off contract, so he's got a 1-year deal. I think he's got the ability, Shane, to end up in the NBA as early as next year.
No doubt. He's proven that he's quality, and that's for next year that we're talking about for that.
Yeah.
Let's stay with the NBA and Jeremy Lowe from the NBL, the big dog. He's over there creating even bigger relationships. Yeah,
obviously, Jeremy's off to the All-Star weekend. It's a great chance to rub shoulders with the who's who. But for the NBL, it's important because Larry Kesselman has expressed interest in private equity moving forward for the NBL. It's massive in the NBA now and in American sport in general. So it's a chance for Jeremy to rub shoulders with some of these companies, talk a bit more, and really a great chance, Shane, because there's so many NBL players on show at the All-Star weekend this weekend. We've got Paddy, former NBL, obviously Josh Giddey, Jay Sean Tate. But the bigger picture, I think, is for the security of the league. I don't think investment from NBA play, it has to happen. And I think private equity is the way forward. And I think it's smart from the NBL, but they just got to get those relationships going.
Good time to do it, no doubt about that. And a future NBA player in my mind, Tyrese Proctor, Sutherland Jr. here in New South Wales, currently at the COE. What's news about him?
Well, he's obviously playing for the Boomers under Bevo in the next couple of weeks in those World Cup qualifiers. He's meeting with Duke College in the next couple of weeks. And my understanding is they're super keen. Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving went there. That's the path he wants to go down, Shane. It opens the door, and I want to get your opinion. But we've seen recently with Dyson Daniels, now with Proctor, they are choosing to bypass the next stars as an option to go to the NBA by the NBL. What's your thoughts? And do you think that the next stars program, as we've seen, does it need to evolve?
Yeah, maybe a two-pronged sort of level of kids coming in. Dyson Daniels was ready to play in the NBL now and contribute. He decided not to come. Tyrese Proctor, I think, is an NBA player of the future. As I said, he's a terrific kid, but he's not ready to play in the NBL. It might be better for him right now to go and play against the kids at university where he can actually compete. Really difficult. When you look at Mojave King, maybe it was better for him to go to college as well, because his couple of years he hasn't proven that he's able to get into the rotation. We look at Josh Giddey, he was ready, and then he uses this to be able to springboard to go to the NBA. It made him better to be able to compete straight away. But I think it's horses for courses about their development, body types, and how much they can contribute against men right now is the key for me, Matty.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, if you look at like New Zealand, for example, like Besson and Deng, it's not necessarily the best environment for them at the moment. Like they're away from home and they're not winning. Like it's a tough situation being a next star. Like as much as we've seen success stories like Giddey.
I think it's a great story. It's going to continue to evolve. It's just what age these guys are ready to come in and what level. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that decision by Tyrese Proctor. But great universities that he's going to look at. Time for Points Made, brought to you by our man, Bet with Joel. And we wanted a blockbuster trade. We spoke about it last week. It was Philly and the Nets. We got what we wanted. I reckon the Nets won out, but let's find out from Derek Rucker. What do you think, mate?
Man, what a trade. And I'm just glad for both teams that it's all over. It was uncomfortable. It was unpleasant. It wasn't a good look for the league. It allows Ben Simmons to move on, and I think he's gone to a perfect place. There was only one place that I thought would be better, and that was Golden State. But he's getting to play now with Kevin Durant, and now James Harden is free to go and play with a person and be with the GM. Have you ever seen this type of relationship, Howard, where a player is so infatuated with a GM and vice versa that they just want to hang out like this? Like Morey was at the bottom of the plane waiting for Harden, and they dapped each other up, embraced each other. Look, I mean, if this is what Harden feels is going to make his chances at winning a championship improve, all the better. But I still don't see Philadelphia as being a championship contender, even with Harden. And I don't think Harden is the same player he was even 18 months ago.
It's blind love, right? There was a lot of passion in that hug too, I can tell you that. But I just think Harden's going to let you down. Just like we said he'd let you down when he went to the Nets. I know you argued against it and he was going to be able to do this and that. But, it got too hard for him and then he demanded a trade again and wasn't getting it done. He doesn't play the defense. I think at the start it's going to be pretty for him. He'll let Embiid do his thing. But over time, he's going to want the ball. He's going to let you down when it gets to the playoffs. And I'm really happy for Ben Simmons. I don't think he's done the right thing, leading up to this. But I think he's found himself in the right position because with all those scorers around, they will embrace his defense, his rebounding, his decision-making. New lease of life. I think they'll be better. For me, they get the win. All right, the second one. We've got the Pacers and the Kings. I know you're big on Haliburton. He's been playing really well. Young talent, but Sabonis going to Sacramento.
Yeah, and look, the Kings look better already in the first couple of games since acquiring those guys. But they're such a bad franchise, Shane, and they're led poorly from the GM all the way up to ownership. It's been this way for decades. They are the franchise that took Marvin Bagley Jr. over Luka Doncic. So that says it all right there. And now they finally get it right with Tyrese Haliburton, and they move him on halfway through his rookie season. So I think Haliburton's in a really good spot now. He can play in a franchise that is looking to grow. I'd rather be with the Pacers than Sacramento. So I think it's another trade where both teams are better off and all the players involved are probably better off.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And our third trade, Porzingis, the big fella, we said pre-season that he needed to go. It wasn't the right fit. He's gone to Washington. Dinwiddie, we know he's a star. He can do some good things, but is he the right fit with Luka? We spoke last week. You reckon Luka needs somebody else to take a little bit of the burden, and he's ready to be able to give up the ball, but is he?
Well, look, the genesis of all of this is that Luka and Porzingis hated each other, right? And Cuban saying it was an easy trade. Well, yeah, because Cuban's boys with Luka, so that's all easy. They can just ship Porzingis out of there. Now, Dinwiddie loves the ball, is talented, but come crunch time, who's going to make the plays? And is Luka willing to give up the ball? I say no. Luka's still too young. You know, Shane, there's an age threshold where you realize, you know what? It's better if I share. It will help my body. It will help my productivity. Luka hasn't hit that age yet, I don't think. What about you?
And it helps you win. You got to understand that you've got to be able to trust other people around you. And you're right. When you're younger, you want to take on the world. The older you get, the more you're prepared to share and understand that more people contributing helps you get that success. But interesting to see how these games go. But check out Bet with Joel. He has been on fire for the people following him of late. Unbelievable results. But we'll check out what these trades mean for the NBA season. Well, thank goodness that's all we've got time for today. I can't wait for Jojo to get back so I can just play the sidekick. But big thanks to TCL Mobile and Bet with Joel and 2K as well. And we'll see you next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.